Hey YouTube, it's Alicia here. Hope everybody is having a great day. None other. I am here to give you a wrestling talk, but I'm going to be talking about WWE's women's division, but also I'm going to be talking about something that nobody on Twitter is addressing, and I will be addressing that in this video as well. So without no further ado, let's get started. So let's just start off with Aaliyah. As y'all remember, in 2021, Aaliyah suffered an injury while she was tag team champs with Raquel Gonzalez. Okay, that put her on the shelf for a couple of months. So I wanted to let y'all know that we haven't seen Aaliyah on Raw is War or on SmackDown. And I think she is still part of SmackDown, or she's part of SmackDown, or she's part of Raw. But I will let y'all know what brand she is part of below. But check for that. So everybody was like saying, where is Aaliyah? We haven't seen that. And then so recently she had this cryptid tweet she tweeted and stuff, and I was like, okay. So to me it was very cryptid. It was like, what I'm gonna say, it was very cryptid. That's one. And you know, we haven't seen her, and then the only time we have seen her in matches, or we will see her at live events, you will probably see her at live events wrestling, or you will see her on main event wrestling a little bit as well. But overall, she has been MIA. So I just wanted y'all to get something that y'all probably didn't know from 2022. So Aaliyah has been cleared. Let's just say she has been cleared to wrestle for months. She has been cleared to wrestle since October 27 of 2022. She's been cleared to wrestle since 2022, October 27 of 2022. So it gets me to think, okay, why she's still off television and stuff. We're seeing her a little bit we see her wrestle at live events. They don't have a problem using her for that. They don't have a problem using her for main event. So my thing is it the storylines or is it the gimmick? Okay, her gimmick was pretty good in NXT, so I don't get why she had to go through a gimmick change when she came to the main roster. That's the one thing I have a problem with. So you have to think, what is, like, they can't find a good program with her, because I remember she had a pretty good program with Natty, because she defeated Natty and stuff like that. She had a good program, and I'm going, if they could put together a good program just like that for Aaliyah, I surely think everybody will be happy to see her and welcome her back. Like I said, I don't know what brand she's on when it comes to Raw or SmackDown, but I will look it up and I will list it below. But overall, that's one thing. Now, before I get talking about this potential storyline that I think we could get with Kairi Sane coming back, with Kairi Sane, Asuka, Xia Li, and Io Sky. Before I talk about that, I need to come and talk about this one thing doing with Kiera, former Impact star and former TNA Impact star and former AEW star, Kiera Hogan, along with her sidekick, AEW star Red Velvet. Okay, I don't know if y'all have seen it or heard it, but let me just tell y'all what I have seen. Okay, so one of my subscribers who follows me, I was just scrolling this morning and they had this video that it was a video of a live screen, a video of Kiera Hogan and Red Velvet. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna make some points, but I'm not dissing her as a wrestler. I'm dissing her because of her mouth. And it's certain things you don't do in the wrestling industry. As I always told y'all, my family is highly, let me just say, highly connected into the wrestling industry, thanks to an uncle. Okay, I never give up that uncle's name, and I never will. And to me, when you badmouth somebody top of the industry just to make yourself look relevant, that's the only thing I put together. You're trying to be relevant. So this is what I see. I see Kiera Hogan. For many of years before Sasha Banks ever left WWE in 2022. Okay, if you remember in 2022, Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out of WWE. Okay. Now, this would be a reason why I think WWE probably would never give Kiera Hogan a WWE contract. Now, y'all said, oh, how is that relevant? Listen, in this video that she is saying, she is going after and talking crap about Mercedes Money, formerly known as Sasha Banks. Okay, she had a problem with Sasha Banks. She made claims probably about 2 to 4 years ago. Let me just put it about 4 years ago. She made claims that Mercedes Money, formerly known as Sasha Banks, stole the blue hair gimmick from her. So I'm going, I always looked at that with the side eye for a reason. Number one, family connections, okay? Number two, I always associated colored hair with Sasha Banks. And if you remember when Sasha Banks first started on the main roster, she had this sort of like purple mahogany colored like hair. So if you remember when she came back, she tossed this wig off and it revealed this beautiful, beautiful dark blue hair. And I remember that to the T. But I remember when Kiera Hogan was on the indie circuit at the same time. Now this is gonna coincide from what's coming up today. It coincides because Kiera Hogan for years now has always said, oh, Sasha Banks copied me. The blue hair came from me. But I remember during that time period, you had crimson red hair. And none of y'all fans never called it out. Let me just put it, none of y'all fans ever called that out. To get me to say why. None of y'all fans ever called Kiera Hogan out for her mouth. Okay? Kiera Hogan kept saying, oh, the blue hair came from me. WWE and Sasha Banks stole it from me. WWE didn't even know about you. So how would they be able to steal that idea from you where you had red crimson hair? Huh? If y'all don't believe that, go back and look at the timeline. Look at the timeline when she had that red crimson hair, because I can tell y'all, she had red crimson hair when she was in TNA. And she still had red crimson hair when she was in TNA. But she started doing the blue hair right when she went to AEW. Don't come at sis because I'm finna tell some truth. Okay, to get me to say, I just feel like right now from this live video that she did recently, I don't think anybody in the wrestling industry, you have certain things you follow. And in the wrestling community, when you break a rule, they're going to look at you at the side eye like, I don't trust you no more. And that's what Kiera did. That's what Kiera and Red Velvet did. They made it hard for themselves to ever people trust her. Okay, y'all wondering what I'm talking about. Kiera went on a live and she was like talking about Mercedes Money. all of the fans love Mercedes Money. She has always been the draw of WWE. And I'm going to tell y'all why I think Kiera Hogan now made it where WWE is not going to give a look at her for a potential having her in part of the WWE ever when it comes to NXT wise or the main roster wise. I'm going to get to that. To get me to say she's on her live, she's bad mouthing. And when I say she is bad mouthing Mercedes Money, she said Mercedes, everybody assumes, oh, you're talking about Mercedes Money. And I believe so. That's what she was doing. She was very bad mouthing her, including Red Velvet. Okay, I'm going to give a couple opinions about Red Velvet in a minute. Okay, my thing is with Kiera Hogan. I don't know what is your beef with. I don't know what's your beef with Mercedes Money / Sasha Banks. If it's over a color of a hair, then if you got a problem with Mercedes Money based on a hair color, you probably got a problem with Maya Yim. Mm-hmm. Y'all forget, Maya Yim's hair is blue too. Or have y'all forgotten? I'll wait. Because, see, y'all, when it comes to certain things on the internet that y'all want to call out, y'all don't call out the whole thing. But I'm calling it out. She has a problem that Sasha did this blue hair color. But I remember someone who was close to my uncle, who was close to my uncle, that's one, who worked for a company that she worked at the time. And this particular person told her, do not do the blue hair. This particular female, who I'm not naming, said, do not do that blue hair because who told my uncle, oh, they told her not to do the blue hair because Sasha Banks, a week prior, had already started doing the blue hair, and they told her to keep the red crimson hair. Hello? Like I said, my uncle can find out things. Because he knew I was doing this video. He found out. To get me to say, I don't think Kiera Hogan, and then now she has aspirations to want to wrestle Mercedes Money, and then the one thing I say will make her impossible for people to trust her. She broke the cardinal rule. You never talk about a wrestler. You can talk about a wrestler, what it is, being a wrestler on the inside of the ring and going up against somebody. But you talking about somebody, how you can tell somebody, oh, they unpleasant, they rude, they this, outside of the ring. That's a big no-no in the wrestling industry. You do not diss somebody outside of the ring like that. And that's a big no-no. I don't know if everybody who is wrestlers will agree or not. But with me, with being educated by my uncle, who always said, this is something you're supposed not to do outside of the ring as a wrestler. You should never disrespect another wrestler in another company. And that's what Kiera Hogan did. Well, just a former wrestler a former wrestler of WWE. Now, let me get finished with Kiera Hogan and then get on Red Velvet. Well, let me do both of them. So let me do a little bit on Red Velvet. Red Velvet just sat there, and I called her the sidekick. I called Red Velvet the sidekick, and I said, oh, you just sitting there and agreeing to everything. Okay? You sitting there and you agree to everything. But that's going to come back and bite you in the butt in your wrestling career because you're still at AEW. I wouldn't be too surprised that's going to come back and bite her in the butt. Wouldn't be too surprised that's going to come back and bite her in the butt. But because of Kiera Hogan for so many years has disrespected Mercedes Money / formerly known as Sasha Banks, I don't think WWE will ever give her an opportunity to come and try out for the WWE because of this reason. I'm not being mean about it, but I'm just saying this from a perspective of saying this from a woman who uncle worked in the industry. You disrespected one of their former top superstars, so why would they give you an opportunity to be part of WWE? Think about it, y'all. Because if you think about it, I don't think WWE will ever give Kiera Hogan that opportunity to ever be part of the WWE. I'm not dissing her. I'm not disrespecting her. I'm just saying some things that she needs to be mindful of. One, you disrespect one of the top female minorities in the wrestling industry. And I think everybody will say Sasha Banks is one of the top female minorities in the wrestling industry. That's one. Number two, you just cost your career a future opportunity of ever being part of the WWE. Okay, y'all, so I want to go on and get into this pretty good potential storyline that we probably could get for Kairi's women's WWE title belt. Okay, so I want to talk about Kairi Sane versus Asuka versus Io Sky versus Xia Li. Now, as all of y'all know, we have these four Asian American female wrestlers. I don't know what part of Asia they represent, but all I know they are Asian. They're Asian Americans. If you brought Kairi Sane back to aid Asuka, but then Asuka betrays her, then Xia Li comes out, and then they all betray each other, and then I really feel like this is the match we need to see at upcoming pay-per-view or at the or next year's WrestleMania to get me to say this probably would be a good match if WWE can book it right. So it's like you bring back Kairi Sane to aid Asuka against Io Sky. But Kairi Sane, and then Asuka betrays Kairi, but then you have Xia Li, who has a problem not being part of the women's title picture. Boom. I feel like this would be a good match that we need to see. And it probably could be a, for now, women's title match. It could probably be a top match because if you look at it, if y'all think about it and if you think about it and think about how it would look good on paper, it makes more sense than what we are getting right now. Because I've been saying for the last few months, the WWE's women's programming has been lackluster. Let's say it, lackluster. And we need something that's going to make it awesome. But overall, I want to hear what y'all think. Do y'all think it's time for WWE to start using, if Kairi Sane returns, this is a potential feud we probably would want to see. Kairi Sane versus Asuka versus Xia Li versus Io Sky for the WWE women's title belt. And the reason I put Xia Li up in there, come on, if you think about it, he get Asuka betraying Kairi Sane, and then Io Sky is like all three of them going back and forth. But then you hear Xia Li come out, and she's not for anybody. She's all for herself. And she's out there, and she's mad because, hello, these girls are being featured, but I'm not being featured. What about me? So it's like these four girls going at it because, hello, they want title belt. They want that title belt. And I'm thinking, hey, long run, this is something I can see the women's division doing? Now, speaking of the women's division, I'm going to speak on this, and I speak on this all the time when I talk about the women's division. As y'all know, I always say, oh, WWE needs more women's title belts. And I'm going, what title belt that the men has at the moment would benefit the women's division? I can actually think of a good few. Okay, so let me get started. Number one would be a women's U.S. title belt. I think I've been saying that for the longest. We need a women's U.S. title belt. And I think Dana Brooks could be the inaugural champion. And that goes for the second one is too, a women's intercontinental title belt. Those two title belts. So if we had those two title belts, I can actually see Dana Brooks being both inaugural champions. But if we brought both of them in, we need to figure out a way to make it work. Secondly, the other thing I've been saying for almost going on 3 years, 3 years. Yeah, this will be 3 years for, 4 years. This will be 4 years of me saying this. But I've been saying for the longest that WWE women's division need their own writers team and creative team. I have said it once and I'm going to say it again. They do need their own writers team and creative team, because I feel like the current writers team and creative team is they assist of all men on that team. And I went and Googled who is the creative team and writers team of WWE. And when I looked at it, I was shocked. The only female that's on there that is on the creative team is Molly Holly. And she's not doing enough for that women's division, because if you think about it, that women's division feuds or stories do not have a woman's touch. All I'm saying is bring in the women that we know that probably could give us some good, give us a good storyline for the women's division, who can create something real good for that women's division, but with a woman's touch. Because every time you see these women's feuds now, it doesn't have a woman's touch. That's the problem. I think we as fans is not complaining about that the women's storylines do not have a woman's touch. When you see female wrestlers and you see female storylines of WWE, you can tell it's a man's touch. And all I'm saying is, can we at least get to see the women's feuds and storylines have a female touch? I've been saying this and I'm going to say it. If anybody has to head up the all women's writers team and creative team for that women's division, I would say it could be Shane McMahon. And I'm going to give y'all the reason why, and I'm going to try to speed this up quickly for you to understand. The reason I say Shane McMahon, if you think about when Shane McMahon was in charge of SmackDown a couple of years ago, and he introduced the women's Money in the Bank match, and you see how he done the women's Money in the Bank match, he made sure they was the prime feature for SmackDown. All I'm saying is Shane knows what to give the women's division. He knows what to give it. So I don't get why Stephanie McMahon and Triple H or Nick Khan don't invite Shane McMahon back to be part of the WWE. He don't have to be there as a talent, or he don't have to be there as a talent. He can be there to show the women's division what it could be under his regime and stuff. But if they don't want Shane, I'd be happy to have them bring back Stephanie, see what Stephanie can do for that women's division. All I'm saying is we need to see what they can do by creating 2 more women's title belts. That's one. Number 2, letting the women's division have their own creative and writers team with all female creative team and writers, and they all be formal WWE superstars. Man, think about it. You got those Bella twins. Man, they probably can come up with something real good. But all I'm saying is, when it comes to the women's division and the women's division in wrestling in general, from each, from WWE to AEW to TNA Impact to, oh my God, all the wrestling companies. It's like, we need to see women wrestling be featured in a positive way and thing. And I'm not going to get on the women's tag team. Well, I can get on it a little bit. As I always told y'all, I will try to list the video. I'm going to try to find it and list it. But I have talked about the women's tag team division. I did say I really feel like the women's tag team division titles just need to be taken off TV for at least 3 to 4 months, at least. Revamp it, reintroduce it, for they can figure out who are tag teams and who are single competitors and who they can put together as tag teams. That's one. And then secondly, when they bring it back, I really feel like this was the one thing I'm going to say that might be the reason why we are having so much bad luck with the women's tag team titles. And y'all might agree with me or you might not, but I really feel like they did not honor or recognize, and let me say that again, honor or recognize the women's tag team titles from the 1980s. Now, I will list that video that I did about the women's tag team division of the 1980s. I was born in the 80s. That's when it started. It started in the 1980s, and the titles went away in 1989. That was the last time. That was when they retired the title. And then several years later, thanks to Sasha and Bailey, they brought the titles back. Sasha and Bailey was the inaugural champions. And with some of those titles, you have gotten good reigns. But I will say after, and pardon me, after the walkout of Naomi and Sasha, I really felt like that's when the tag team titles fell downhill a little bit and stuff. By tag team, they just let willy-nilly anybody, really, when I say willy-nilly, they let anybody hold their titles. They did not hold those women's tag team titles in up to up to its stature to that counterpart of the men's division. I'll get on theirs at a later date. But y'all, let me hear what y'all, out of all the stories, what story was very interesting? And do you agree with me that Kiera Hogan is taking this little Mercedes Moné / they're formerly known as Sasha Banks feud a little too far, now knowing that she wants to wrestle her? And do y'all think she probably just cost herself an opportunity to ever work in the WWE? And do y'all think Red Velvet might get a little punished by AEW's president? Until then, I'm Alicia. Don't forget to thumbs up this video, comment below, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.